Hey everyone, Pastor Ryan coming to you from San Jose, California on Zoom again for another week of online youth group. And I would like to start this week by announcing that you, the students, have officially elected a new worship leader. Last week we posted a video on Instagram saying the winner of this poll on Instagram would become our new worship leader. Alright, and the results of this poll are out, and the official winner to become the next worship leader of our youth group is, drumroll please, Chuck the Worshikin, who defeated Jackson by a margin of 34-4 votes. And that is a total of 89% for Chuck and 11% for Jackson. And I'd like to highlight that Jackson voted for himself, so it was really 34-3, while his girlfriend Janae actually also voted for Chuck. I think you guys need to work on your relationship, but that's okay. Unfortunately, Chuck has withdrawn his application to be the worship director, so we are indeed stuck with Jackson as our only option. But don't you worry, students. I am continuing to accept applications for this position, and I am seeking upgrades over our current situation. Alright guys, well I have some good news and some bad news that I would like to share with you this week, and I'm going to go ahead and start with the bad news. And the bad news is that Campus by the Sea announced this week that they are not going to be having any summer camps at their camp due to COVID-19. And I realize that this is upsetting to many of you, and as recently as 3 weeks ago they said it was good to go and they were fully expecting to do it, but this is such a unique situation and things change so fast that it changed for them and they're no longer able to host the camp at Campus by the Sea. So our summer camp as we were originally planning it is indeed canceled. And I know this sucks. I know how many of you were looking forward to this, and I was looking forward to it too. And we can all mourn the loss of this together and be sad about this together as a community. But my promise to you as a youth pastor is that we are still very actively trying to think of ways and events and things we can do to make this a great summer for all of you. Whether maybe we can try to take a San Diego trip for a week or something fun like that. No promises, just an idea. But we're still trying to figure out ways to make this summer an awesome summer, even if we can't go to Catalina Island. And we will see how things play out with COVID-19. But my commitment to you is that we will still do awesome things this summer. And I have two pieces of good news. The second one is probably more exciting, but the first one is the fireworks stand is still happening. And we'll be getting more info to you that when we start meeting on campus again. And this is my good news that I'm very excited about, is that youth group is officially going to start meeting at New Life Community Church again on campus in person on Wednesday, June 17th. That is 3 weeks from today. We are going to be meeting in person again, Wednesday, June 17th. And that is the first week that you guys are all out of school. So it's going to be summer break, and we're going to be meeting at youth group again. And I will say it'll be a little different. We're actually going to be meeting in our small groups and in classrooms. So we are not going to come together as one big group, at least not like in the youth room. I still might try to find ways for us to hang out, maybe on the field, spread out with all the students so you guys can see friends you haven't seen in a while. But for the majority of the time, we'll be in classrooms in our small group in groups of 10 or less, ideally. So you guys with leaders, and you'll need to wear masks and take social distancing protocols, but we'll have more of that info coming to you guys soon. So I am incredibly excited that we are going to be able to meet on campus again this next upcoming month in just a few short weeks. And that's going to be awesome. And that's going to be great feeling and change of pace from all the isolation and quarantine that we've been in. And I also want to announce that our church as a whole is having an all-church worship night the night before that, Tuesday, June 16th. And your family's invited, you are invited. It's going to be on the lawn, in the grass, and people are going to be spread out, but we'll be able to come together as a church and worship and have an outdoor event that we can still do while being safe and practicing social distancing. So that's a lot of things, some bad news, some good news. Um, and in light of all this news, in light of, us feeling sad about summer camp, but being excited that we get to meet again and being excited for all that's coming this summer, I just want to have us pray together over this next season, over this summer. And I'm going to go ahead and pray, and I invite you to just bow your heads and lean into whatever emotion you're feeling, whether excitement to come back together, whether it's sad that Campus by the Sea announced they're canceling their summer camp. I invite you to lean into that and to pray this prayer with me. Let's bow our heads together. Dear God, I just pray over this next season of life in our youth group and life in our church amidst all of this craziness of COVID-19 and quarantine, God. And I just pray that you are with our students first and foremost, that our students listening feel your presence and know that you're with them, that you love them. Even if we're feeling sad about summer camp being canceled or quarantines getting to us and making us feel grumpy or we're tired of it, I pray that our students feel your presence with them, God, and know that you love them and you care for them. And that even though life might seem awful at times, that you are here amidst this craziness and you are doing good things. So may we not lean on our own understanding. May we not trust what we feel might be true or what we think might be true, but may we instead trust in you with all of our heart and lean on you, God. And in doing that, just have the faith that you are have good plans for us and are doing good things amidst all of this, God. And I just pray that as we have announced that summer camp is canceled, that we as a group do not feel sad or do not dwell in the negative emotions, God, but instead that we look for the future and we look for whatever else you have for us this summer, God, and that we find ways to have a great summer amidst all of this, God. And I pray that we are able to enjoy that together and that it fills the void in some way of losing summer camp, God. But I thank you that we have this group, that we can do so many fun things together, and that we've been able to go to Catalina Island in the past, God, because a lot of churches and a lot of students don't get to go to such an awesome camp. So we're grateful for that, God, and maybe we're a little spoiled in some ways and we all have such cool summer experiences. So let us recognize the blessings that we do have and have a content heart. And I just pray that as we enter the summer, as we come back together to meet on June 17th, that we feel excited, God, that we get excited and we feel the energy and that we are looking forward to that day. We can all be on campus again. We can see our friends in person again. We can laugh together again. We can eat food together again. We can play games together again. We can talk about our lives and share what's on our hearts in person again. That you make that day a great day, God. That you keep everything going according to plan. That we don't have to delay it or nothing changes, God. That you bring us together as a community, God, and that we can enjoy and love that together. And I just pray that as we move towards that date, that we are all eagerly anticipating it, God, and that just marks the beginning of one of the best summers ever. The summer where we finally beat COVID-19 at least a little bit because we got to meet together in person again, God. So let this be a great summer. Build that excitement and build that energy in our group, God. And may we feel the blessings that we've gotten in our lives, whether it's going to Catalina in the past or the fact that we get to meet at such a great church and do so many fun things together. We are so blessed, God, and it's easy to feel sad or upset right now, but may we instead count our blessings that you have given us in our lives, God, and find joy and peace and contentment in you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. All right, well, at this point, we are going to continue on with our youth group on Zoom tradition of watching a Bible Project video and discussing it a little bit. And for this video, it's a relatively short one, and then I'll make one or two short points because I'm going to keep it short this week, and then we'll have some discussion questions about it. But before I get started, or we get started, I would like you to answer these two questions in your small groups on Zoom. And number one, has someone ever broken a promise that they made to you? Has someone ever given you a promise and then broken it? And how did that make you feel? And number two, what do you think the word covenant means? And if nobody in your group knows, I encourage you to try Googling it. So answer those questions now in your small groups. All right, well, when I Googled what the word covenant means, the first result just said an agreement. But if you expand it and the third result down, which focuses on the definition of covenant from a Christian perspective, is an agreement which brings about a relationship of commitment between God and his people. An agreement which brings about a relationship of commitment between God and his people. And so this focuses on both the idea that it's a legal agreement, that there's two parties agreeing to give something, but it's also about the relationship between God and us, and having commitment within that, where God promises us to give us something if we agree to partner with him by fulfilling our end of the bargain. And God makes multiple covenants with people in the Bible, as we will see in this Bible Project video. So go ahead and take a listen to that now. All right, so I'm going to spend about 5 minutes breaking down some of the main ideas from this video starting here. So here at the beginning of the video, it talked about how in many ways the relationship between humanity as a whole and God can be described as a partnership, and that we are in partnership with God. And that is found through the understanding of a covenant, which is seen here. And in this idea of a covenant, we see like this idea where God makes promises to us as his creation and us as his people. And this happens mainly in the Old Testament in this form, where God makes multiple covenants between himself and the people of Israel, or himself and Abraham. And in this model, he makes promises of how he will care for or work through these people or bless these people if they follow their commitments to him in the way that they've asked him to live. And this is how it's often framed in the Old Testament from the beginning with Adam and Eve. And Adam and Eve had one commitment in their covenant with God, and that's not to eat the fruit from one specific tree. Their covenant or partnership with God, just not eat this fruit from this one tree in this garden with tons of food. And they had one job. Adam and Eve had one job, and they totally messed it all up. But we see this isn't just limited to Adam and Eve, so let's not get too angry at just them, because this is a pattern we see throughout all of the Old Testament, as we see here. We see here that in the Old Testament, God makes a covenant with humans where he offers them promises if they keep their commitments, including with the people of Israel. And over in the Old Testament, we see humanity as a whole fail at keeping their end of the covenants. And the moral of this story is that we as humans cannot live up to how God has asked us to live, because we keep failing over and over in our commitment to God. And that's where Jesus enters the picture, to fulfill these commitments of this covenant in our place. And in his coming, Jesus actually fulfills all of these covenants in the New Testament. Jesus becomes the fulfillment of these covenants in all of these ways that we as humans could not be. And in so doing, he brings about this new covenant. By being the covenant partner we were meant to be but could not, he brings about a new covenant where he takes our place in this agreement with the Father, where we don't have to fulfill any new commitments because Jesus already fulfilled them for us. And Jesus becomes the covenant partner that we failed to be. It would kind of be like if God paid us $1 million to go on a quest and kill a dragon so that he could get a treasure chest filled with gold. But instead, we completely ignore him, so he sends his own son to go on a quest to kill the dragon, and then lets us tag along, keep all the $1 million and the treasure chest anyways, even though we did nothing. It doesn't make sense. The radical love and goodness and generosity of God doesn't make sense. We've done nothing in this partnership to earn anything. And yet, despite that, God made a way for us to receive the goodness of his promises anyways. We've done nothing, and God has given us everything. All right, well, that concludes this week's lesson. I hope it was insightful and it gave you some new thoughts. And now we'll break into our small groups, and your leaders will ask a few remaining questions. And remember that we have our Talking About Theology event tomorrow at a new time at 4 p.m. and that we have our Sunday live stream event 9:30 a.m. Sunday morning. We'll watch the church service together. And also in 21 days, on June 17th, 2020, we will all be meeting again at New Life Community Church on campus. I can't wait to be there with you guys all again, and I'm super excited that it's going to be pretty darn soon. So you guys have a great week, a good one. I miss you all. I hope I see you all on Zoom tomorrow at 4, and I hope I see you all at church on June 22nd. I miss and I love you guys. God bless everyone. Have a great week. All right, and we have the results from that poll, and the winner, drum roll please, is Chuck the Worshikin.